An accomplished equestrienne, in addition to being a best-selling author whose books prominently feature horse characters, or in the case of her fantasy series, unicorns and centaurs, Margi Evans is the 2024 recipient of the Colorado Authors League Lifetime Achievement Award. Margi's love of horses began when she was a little girl.
I was born with manure in my blood. I was born loving horses to a non-horse family. My parents didn't know where I came from, but they were kind enough as an 8-year-old to let me start taking riding lessons, hoping maybe that I'd outgrow it. I didn't outgrow it. And by the time I was 10, I was taking 2 lessons a week. And by the time I was 13, I bought my own horse with my own money. But I had to support him myself. I babysat, I cleaned a neighbor's house, I walked polo ponies at the polo club during chucks. Just whatever I could do to earn the money to support the horse.
Margi and her husband Tom have been married for 52 years. They have 5 children, a daughter and 4 sons, and 13 grandchildren. My number one joy in life, she says, quickly calling horses number 2.
I had made a deal with Tom that when we got married, I sold my horse. But the deal was, when the last child went to 1st grade, I was getting a horse again. So when we moved here, the youngest child was 4. So I'm starting to see horses in my near future. I had appointments to ride horses the day Nick, the baby, went to 1st grade. That was our deal.
Margi started riding professionally around 2004, after she and Tom moved to Colorado. But she had tried writing long before that.
The first book I wrote was on our honeymoon as we were driving across country, and I wrote a story. So I've always loved to write. But in terms of becoming a focused professional author, I didn't start until I moved here to Colorado. And I started with equestrian trail guide books, nonfiction books, because I wanted to know where to ride in Colorado. So I wrote a series of 4 equestrian trail guide books for Colorado. Those were my first books, but meanwhile I had in my head my fiction stories. And yes, I did go ride all those trails myself.
Margi's books have won numerous awards. She follows a similar process with each one.
It takes me about a year for the whole process, from the idea to the research to starting the first draft and the multiple drafts after that. It'll take me about a year, but during that year, that's pretty much all I'm thinking about, even when I'm up riding my horse in the mountains. You know, the most fun part of writing historical fiction is the research. And once I have the idea, from wherever it came, once I have the idea in my head, I start formulating the direction I want the story to go. But to get the information, I actually buy nonfiction books on the subject. And I buy the books so that I can highlight, I can dog ear, I can write notes in the margins, I can do whatever I want. And then that's kind of my notebook, are these books that I buy. And then as I'm doing my research, the story is forming in my head. Now, I don't outline and I don't do storyboards, but I also don't start writing the story until I have it written in my head. I have the idea, I know where it's going, and then I just start working.
Margi is a major ribbon collector, with a tack room full of horse show ribbons, in addition to the dozens of awards for her books. Her historical fiction novel, Pinto, has earned a dozen awards alone.
Pinto was so fun to create a personality for that horse still holds the record for the longest horseback ride in history, 20,300 miles. And it was so fun to just create his personality, make him a little bit conceited and a little bit stubborn sometimes. Just to put in a personality was really fun and give him a voice.
Margi's most recent book, and first mystery, is Finding Fionn, about an Irish racehorse that was kidnapped and held for ransom. It's a huge success in an unexpected place, at least to her.
For some reason, it got discovered in the UK. It is set in Ireland. The UK seems to really like that book because it's been #1 on their bestseller list.
Margi's 24th book, titled Coal Dust and Dreams, will be released in September. The story revolves around a particular pit pony in a Welsh coal mine, and is a good example of where she finds inspiration for her novels.
My daughter sent me a picture of a earthen sculpture that was built in South Wales on the site of a closed coal mine. And they took the coal slag and pushed it into the shape of a running horse. And from the ground, it's about 200 meters long, but from the ground it just looks like a big hill. But from the air you can see that it's actually a running horse. And she sent me that picture. And that picture is what gave me the whole idea.
Margi has been a CAL member since September 2011 and has served 4 presidents in a variety of ways. From editor of the in-print newsletter, to awards banquet chair, to decorating the co-op book booth, to organizing community service projects.
I have loved being in Cal because I've met so many wonderful other authors, and they're so much like me in that they're just working hard, they're just trying hard, trying to do their best. And because of my association with those different authors, I've met people who've helped me with editing. I've met people who've been beta readers for me. I've been beta readers for them. So I've had that opportunity to get to know so many people and get to talk to them about this whole crazy business of being a professional author.
Margi is the 11th recipient of the CAL Lifetime Achievement Award.
I've worked with so many of these authors that are so fabulous, and I can name a dozen or more people that really deserve this award. And for me to be selected was just shocking to me, but I am so honored. I mean, it really touched my heart that the contributions I've made have been beneficial, that people have felt that what I've been able to do was helpful to Cal.